Have you ever talked to yourself in the mirror? Or in front of the camera?
Hola, Cha.
I apologize for making you get this far in vain, for not having you taken through the path everyone expected you to take, the one you expected for yourself. For letting you fail in this life, for swimming against the current, for questioning everything. I ask you for forgiveness. But an apology for what? Who defines failure, success? Being the most rational of species, we appear to be the only one victim of itself. And that's how we live, like a boat adrift on solid ground. Sometimes I wonder how we have fallen so far, and how is it that we continue to push on at our own risk? Who am I, and what am I here for? I am Charlene Arian, and this is my Selfie Project. It's curious. Absolutely every day we have lived, we have been exposed to dualities. The light of day, the darkness of night, the mystery of life and the one of death. In everything we can see an urge of balance, an involuntary impulse of nature to maintain an equilibrium. And even so, we become obsessed and lose our breath in the attempt to find what is total, eternal, absolute, perfect. As if those terms were naturally possible, as if we were all alike and all paradigms work perfectly for everyone in the same way. And besides, who set the paradigms in the beginning and for whom? I try to follow the perfect formulas. It's not that they failed me just once, but they failed me many times. My insecurities were born from my deceptions from my ignorance, and ignorance makes behavior patterns repeat themselves like in a vicious cycle. We have heard it. It's not about the goal, but the journey. But what are we to focus on while we walk? My deceptions became an eternal the world versus Cha, or Cha versus Cha. Really, it was me against myself, because much of what was happening to me, including what was hurting me, shattering me, and taking my faith away, I was allowing it and even encouraging it. Emotional exhaustion is a poison that, if not treated on time, doesn't find an antidote. Deception hurts, and what really hurts makes us desperate, and desperation makes you think on extremes, fatality, the famous hitting the bottom. Shame, anger, impotence, depression, and all that leads to. Sheltering in vices, dependencies, addictions. Being unbalanced assures self-defeat. But hitting the bottom with any luck also leads to awakening. It gives back an instinct of survival and, in turn, a voracious existential curiosity. Why me? Walking is paradoxical if you don't know where you're going or why you're walking. It is to fumble in the dark, to crash into walls blindfolded. We are under constant change. The optimists will call it evolution. The not so optimists may once again set a date for an end of the world. Some people function under the established system. Some others function halfway. Some don't function but adapt to it. And there are others like us, the ones that don't function and do the impossible to move until something gives us back the sense of living, just to obey the impulse of our intensity. For example, I live obsessed asking for the roots of everything, and at some point, I always stumble over the uncomfortable vulnerability caused by the uncertainty. But to move on, it is undeniably necessary to make peace with that sensation. Since being religious, we must make peace with the uncertainty of God's will. And being skeptical, we must live along with it. The uncertainty is our great common enemy, the common denominator of races, philosophies, religions, sciences, while we also cling to life and therefore question our passing through it. The coincidences, the surprises, the moments that give us the sensation that everything is meant to be and happens for a reason, also generate the suspicion that everything that happens now will make sense and have its reason to have happened. The mix of tiredness and curiosity work like a needed energy for growth. That energy that is the only one capable to transgress the paralysis caused by the fear of change. To know that what we are and have now is a result of what we have done until now is the most simple reason to understand that we are still defining what comes next. If the purpose of our existence is no longer to survive, our objective could now be to enjoy the walk, to leave a trace. Then in between so much uncertainty, it is a luxury to be able to decide how to live. There are still many in this world that don't have that possibility. What exactly would you do if, as a gift, you were given a trip to somewhere in the world? I don't remember having asked for this trip to life, but it was given to me. I'm already here. The least I can do is to take advantage of it, collect images, sensations, emotions, faces, moments, make peace with everything that is not in my hands, and have the willingness to try to contribute to what can be changed. then life can be that. A touristic journey that everyone takes advantage of as they may want. The irony is that we dedicate our childhood to learn many things, only to then dedicate our adult life to reprogram and redefine. As if we grew up developing our own sickness. It is the danger of the unknown. It can generate fear as much as delirium of ambition. On one side, the mystery of an upcoming change, like the false idea that being different or being in another place, everything will always be better. By nature and inertia, we are born, we are and seek to be connected, to satiate that sense of belonging. Then life has to do with how you experience it as much as who you experience it with. In every surrounding, there is a little bit of everything, a balance. Then my work is to know who I am and then seek to grow up to become like the kind of people I admire. Usually we expose ourselves to the world before getting to know who we really are. The danger, if we don't love ourselves and give ourselves the value that we should, we get exposed to the point where anyone could harm us. My auto boycott was to wait until someone will find me adequate enough for me to accept me as adequate enough. I would get desperate for not being understood, but I couldn't even understand myself. I would get desperate for not being loved, but I didn't even know to love myself, much less discern whose love was really worth it. The process of getting to know ourselves must be really simple, especially now that we live in the selfie era. Yeah, right. Yes, we live in the selfie era. But we learn to know our external profile better than our inner one. And there is no one to blame. We finally live in a period of history where we have been more devoted to technological development than to the philosophical, humanist one. But it is the selfie era. We have more tools to build our own logbook. What if we took advantage of it a little bit more? We are capable to know who we are now and what we are capable of being just by knowing who we want to be. Limits, I place them upon myself. We are capable of healing our lack of self-esteem, our need of self-approval, and lack of identity just by giving ourselves a like, not on the web, but in real life. To get to know oneself is a confrontational process for sure, but at the same time, it suggests an acceptance and healing for oneself. At the very least, to know up until this moment, who am I, where am I, what do I want, where do I want to go, and what for, with whom? What do I believe in? How much do I understand of the world to move on and keep walking in it? With what do I count on to make it? What do I need to work on? Or is the road ahead worth it? But the world is two things. What we think it is and what we wish it was. It's about understanding how the world's gears work. First to survive, and second to work on how we would like to transform it. Every time I become more convinced that we first need to look inside us for what we wish to see in the world. Definitions give us parameters of reasons, beliefs, and these are the bases with which we act and react. But more so, absolutely everything generates sensations, and those are bound to the associations we have made of what happens outside or happens to us. Also by nature, being conscious or unconscious about it, we measure everything by pleasures and displeasures. Some things move us and some others makes us stop. We react to everything we need, and what stimulates us as an influence move us into a certain direction or to take a certain decision. Our senses are our most involuntary sensors. But I believe that it's up to how we make that balance between sensorial and emotional pleasures, what defines fulfillment. Physically, we're unquestionably unique. Emotionally, too. Everywhere is the same, we share the same essence, and everyone does the best one can do with the best one has. There's more that unites us than what separates us. And precisely what separates us is what makes us unique. And that uniqueness is the capacity of each person to contribute to society, as well as each society to a more global range. We are all an important piece in the book of our species. We are part of the same history. We are part of us all. And that idea is the only one that suits the instability and sleeplessness of my soul when it feels that has no reason nor motivation, because it holds the idea that we are all part of and as such necessary. We are our own data for trial and error for our own scientific method. So if every person would tell their own story in an honest manner, we would have better possibilities of developing new paradigms and to leave them as possible alternative for those who come behind. I'm not speaking of breaking the old ones, but to increase the possibilities. What's needed? Freedom. To be a free spirit, freedom to think and to establish new conclusions, freedom of being my own judge and of what other people might think, freedom as a necessary ingredient of authenticity, authenticity as a requirement to set forth onto a self-path, bottom line, freedom to go on being what we are, humans, vulnerable. If we lose the purpose, we lose time and energy in vain. If we lose the purpose, we would have lost it all. My life's purpose, to go around this world being as happy as possible. My favorite definition of happiness, to sleep peacefully and to wake enthusiastic. It speaks to me of balance, being concern-free, and having something to work for. And I believe that to achieve this balance, we must achieve the basic ones: mind, soul, instinct, consciousness. Just like the body needs to be fed, strength, and rested, our spirit needs to be inspired, and strength, and amused. We must also listen to our instinct and live conscientiously, reprogram so as not to keep suffering from what is hurting us, to let go what we need to leave behind, not to be victim of ourselves or of circumstances that are not in our hands. Light exists as much as darkness. Where we focus our energy to is what counts, and where to we focus, results will follow. Then what do we allow to influence us? What do we allow to affect us? What are we giving importance to, and does it really deserve it? What we grant energy to, we grant power. That being morbid, curiosity, violence, idleness. And what we empower is what we are part of, and as a consequence, what we attract, what defines our environment. To live conscientiously is to live being responsible for our own selves, and it starts by loving our own selves. I light in myself with the world and learn to laugh at myself. Humor is the best outlet for emergency cases. I learned to measure my ego and to rescue my pride. I embraced solitude, and once I learned to be by myself, I lost the fear of absolutely everything. First I get to know myself, then I get to share it. One puts the oxygen mask first because only then one is able to put it to the one beside you. Once knowing to love ourselves and acknowledging that in essence we all have the same needs, we want and yearn for the same. It is simple to be empathic. The empathy needed to communicate. Communication for generating knowledge, knowledge to develop tools to live better. Connection is emotional energy. It is our ability to interact, to establish interpersonal communications, to share this tourist trip, to walk together. The thread, that unquestionable energy called love. Humanity, we are like the planet's skin. Every day some people die and some are born. Each one is a vast number of possibilities that don't stop being part of the same link. Then, my name is
Charlene Arian López.
Compulsive humanist, philosopher by pleasure, friend with the drive of an amateur psychologist. I translate myself in songs, in movement. I heal and make myself transparent in what I write and on stages. Maybe because I hope my journey on this world will at least leave data for those studies of our species, and that makes me think everything is worth it. I'm vulnerable to critique starting with mine, to uncertainty, to impotence, to pain, to the sensation of danger, the lack of control, to the unknown, to deception, to economic anxiety, to my insecurities, to my fears, to death, to what seems to me illogical from the human world, to noise, to hate, to war, to power when it's a sickness, to Earth's unpredictable phenomena, to ego when excessive, to time when it pressures, to desire, to longing, what makes me angry or sad, what I believe to be unfair, the lack of motivation, mine and of others, suffering, mine and of others, incomprehension, wickedness, the lack of education, manners, the lack of respect and humanity, the absence and distance of those I love, attitudes of superiority, that ignorance, spending too much time in the same way or in the same place, the excess of routine or traveling backwards on the subway. What is it that moves and energizes me? To learn something new, the feeling of connection, the adrenaline freedom generates, being in love as much as knowing I'm not depending on anyone, joy, happiness, to see the ones I love being happy, humanity in other people's actions, having someone to admire, dedication, wisdom, science's new discoveries, achieving self-improvement in any technical and emotional aspect, witticism, brilliant ideas, teamwork, improvement examples, beauty, aesthetic and of the human spirit, to share what I like, physical contact, caressing, making love, Having someone to laugh, cry, talk, and philosophize with. Being able to help someone, knowing that I have someone who can help me when it's me who needs help. To generate a change that at the same time satisfies the sensation of direction, purpose, and faith in the world. To know people with interesting stories, alien spirits, artistic expressions, music, movement, dance, fashion. To inspire others is inspiring. It is an instant satisfaction, an energetic source that generates connection and belonging all at once. I am a rebel in my own way. I once believed in throwing stones from the outside. Now I believe in being contagious of what we believe in. I am not perfect, nor do I have to be. I'm not unbreakable, I'm human. I feel, I suffer, I live, and I'll die. I do the best I can with the best I have. I own my own destiny. I am responsible for my happiness. I am a witness and I am part of this generation of humans. I'm always better than someone else enough to extend a hand to, and I am always worse than someone else enough to having someone to admire. I always find someone to share what I like and I keep myself connected. And still I know I'm unique and sometimes I only need me. I am a woman, young, body, soul, earth, Latin. Daughter, granddaughter, sister, aunt. I am air and mass, alchemy of my voice and my movement, in ways different from you and in ways same as you. I am what I live and have lived, my instinct, what I write, what I feel, what I understand as being. I am silence, bravery, my mistakes, actions, my past, my present, what I dream of my future, what I work for it. I am my ideas, my fears, my breaks, my path. The solitude that taught me to be independent. I am a fortunate and hardened observer. I have traveled a lot, known and talked to many people, similar and different, famous and unknown, poor, rich. I have lived and worked in different countries, art and entertainment environments, visited towns, cities, creative environments. I have been religious and cosmopolitan. I have gone through hunger, have had more than enough money, and I have been credit sick. I have fallen in love more than once, and I have had lovers without being in love. I have traveled in collective buses and private jets, played for 2 people, sang for thousands, danced on international television and in my hometown's park, as the principal or the last in the chorus, with my body at its 100% and also very injured. I have been heartbroken more than once, and I have broken somebody's heart. I keep on walking, I keep preparing myself, I keep on learning, and try to ensure I become a better version of myself. I have had and still have dear friends, and some that I have to dispense of along the road. I know fear by first hand, death by a closed thirst, and life as a journey in which I wish to keep collecting images. I believe in love as the core energy, because it is the only frequency capable of corresponding to our survival instinct, capable of moving us closer to connect as a team, method that makes us achieve great things. The same energy that preserves the species, thereby generates lives in consciousness. I believe in love without unique paradigms. I believe in humanity because each day I still find people that inspire me. I believe hard times are worth it because they define happy times. And that we will live better if we would suggest more and criticize less. If we would point less and would accept better each other's journeys. If we would become more responsible of ourselves and victimize ourselves less. If we would observe and educate ourselves more. I think what is important is to keep ourselves inspired and to inspire. And when I believe strong enough in something, I am capable of speaking out loud and doing extreme things because I seek creative freedom and being artistically transparent, to have all my energy coherent with my purposes. And I believe we can achieve all of this if we know who we are as individuals, as society, and on that base, we make our actions conscientiously. I believe this must be a constant process that we cannot reach if we don't apply what we have learned. And at the same time we let go and start once and again from zero. I've started a few times from zero, but none like this last one. And this is a never-ending process. If we already know deceptions are a possibility and that they appear at any given moment, if we have already been warned, we know that difficult times may come, to stop and give ourselves permission to cry, breathe, rest, let go. We must prevent hitting the bottom. So it will be prudent to monitor ourselves and to reestablish the basis, strengthen our convictions, or just reconsider the plan, the landscape, or the way of walking. From time to time, it won't be the first time that I will have to stop, find, redefine, and reinvent myself. I already know that there is a precise moment for everything, to be vulnerable, to be thoughtful, hardworking, to go the extra mile, to stop and rest, to be the captain or to support another captain, to be productive, to be charitable, for mystery or dark humor, to be empathic and be a friend, for the family to be a colleague, to be simple or intense, sensual or discreet, to be elegant or excessive, to be a citizen, to be a partner. The important thing is to be assertive in each situation. On the road of growing, we need teachers, guides, counselors, road friends. Some will be technical, others so wise. But if we don't know who we are and what we won't know how to choose. We are what we believe in, and what we believe changes upon what we go on living. And the constant need of change make us curious, brave, committed, warriors. I have more energy than ever to go on. On the process I found tranquility in my convictions, and over them, that freedom I was longing for. I am grateful to life for my family, friends, teachers, psychologists, mentors, for what I have lived and learned, and for not letting me lose faith. None of what I'm exposing is discovered for the first time. It's just that it's not until today that I understood it, and I share the conclusions my journey holds until now. I share it because I would have liked that someone would have told me so before, and because once all vulnerabilities are overexposed, there is nothing to be afraid of. At some point it happens to all of us. Doubt is not unusual to us all. I don't know how you got here, but welcome. If what I'm saying doesn't make sense to you, it won't be the first time someone calls me crazy. Good luck. Thanks for passing by. But if somehow what I say makes sense to you, at least know that you're not alone. It's already two of us, crazy or not. We belong, we are part, and accomplices are always welcome. I may not know you, but I will sing in case you're listening, so you know that while you are listening to me, I listen to you. That our loneliness is only but temporary if at some point our voices and our ideas come together. That alone we're capable, but together, invincible. To know ourselves, to love ourselves, to share ourselves. Crazy people are wanted. I'm just another one for the book of us all. Because we are all unique, everyone would have to do their own search. What are your conclusions? What is your best profile? What is your selfie project? Have you ever spoken to yourself in front of the mirror or in front of the camera? I apologize I haven't met you before. Nice to meet you. I promise I will never stop loving you again.